prayers, chants, and songs. So these are ours. And we use some regularly with every chanting service, and others of them are just for particular occasions. So I'm going to attempt pretty much every time we use a chant to tell you something about it before we do, to get you more oriented. Chanting plays a specific role. It helps us shape and confirm and expand our mindfulness and meditation experience. It's not a casual tack-on to vary the texture of practice, but rather it is in itself a body practice. I'll repeat that. It's a body practice. A body practice similar to Zazen, which is a body practice. It's a physical practice that requires us to be awake and present. We can't chant without being right here in our equipment, in our vocal equipment. We can't fully chant without being fully present. This also is one reason why some of the chants are chanted vigorously and quickly to rouse the energy. If we've been sitting, the energy can get very quiet, which is fine for Zazen. But our lives are filled with voice, and so this is one way we bring this aspect of ourselves into our practice. We chant with our whole body, experiencing the sound and the vibration, the rhythm, while we're also articulating the realizations of our Dharma ancestors through our very own embodiment. Their realizations become our own. We say their words. And maybe we don't immediately understand them. But as we learn the chants over time, they become part of our own mind stream. And many of us have the experience of them popping up at random times, unexpectedly in the midst of our life, in the midst of some activity, or during Zazen. And when those phrases come to us, it is a form of opening. The teachings of the ancestors become alive for us in our very own experience. And we start to understand what the intention of this practice is all about, which is to render our own life its full vitality and presence. When we chant our aspirations, we chant our vows, our realizations, in company with a long lineage of awakened ancestors. And what a unique blessing to be able to, part of the chanting service is the lineage. To be able to name 80 some odd number of generations of practitioners who have kept the spirit of awakening alive for our benefit and passed it along. We chant the actual lineage as it's been reconstructed by centuries of monks and nuns who have been keeping track, valuing where we come from and wanting our ancestors to continue to inherit their own full awareness. This is why we chant. We want to, in our own practice, awaken through the chanting practice, through these wonderful sutras and dharanis. We open our awareness through space and time. It goes beyond this moment to the entirety of all of time and space. The ancestors who lived many, many years ago are alive now in our chanting. The ancestors who lived, thousands of miles away in a variety of other cultural contexts are right here now with us through our chanting. So chanting is one way that we actively receive our inheritance, our Dharma inheritance, our Dharma family inheritance. Each Sunday that we chant the full service, we include one of several different primary chants within the general structure of the service. The general structure remains constant, and we insert several variations as we go along. And the service is directed toward the Bodhisattva vow, the Bodhisattva way, which marks our kind of practice, our lineage in a long line of Mahayana practitioners. The Bodhisattva way turns our life energies, helps us turn our wisdom energies outward towards selfless living. We share our voices and our heart's vows. And for this reason, we also have some other chants, which I'll cover over the coming weeks, as we explore together the depth and breadth of the Buddhist liturgy. So today I'm laying out the general structure of the service for us. And then in coming weeks, I'll go more specifically and at length into each of them. Our service begins with a gata, the gata of atonement. A gata is a Sanskrit word which means song or verse. A gata is a short song or verse. So the gata of atonement, we begin with that. So we've done 3 full bows, and we remain standing during these introductory chants. The gata of atonement comes from directly from the vow of Samantabhadra, as it is laid out in the Avatamsaka Sutra. Now, you don't have to remember what I'm saying. This is a way to familiarize yourself with some of the sources that we have access to that are really interesting, if that's interesting to you. It's not necessary for the practice, but once you're rooted in practice, it can be very useful and inspiring to read some of these sources. So Samantabhadra made 10 great vows, which are the basis of the life of a bodhisattva. And Samantabhadra is the bodhisattva of great awakening activity. So we chant atonement as one of these very important steps that we take every time we begin practice. Atoning, bringing to mind and making amends for past wrongs that we've done through how we think about things in a way that is rancorous and difficult and confused, how we think about things, how we speak, our speech, and our body, things that we've done that have consequences that have been harmful to ourselves and to others. So this vow roots us in awareness of karma, which we're all subject to, and we continue in our lives, in our practice, through practice, to become more and more aware of all of the conditions, past and present, that influence our behavior and our choices. So that's the gata of atonement. We chant it 3 times. We often chant shorter chants 3 times. The reason that my teacher offered for this is that our minds wander. And so we can be saying something and not even be present in the saying. So we say it again, and then we say it again. And it really deeply embeds us in the spirit and the intention of the chant. The next thing that we do is we chant the Tisarana. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa, which is Pali. The Pali language was formulated to write down Buddha's teachings, which were all oral. So we chant that, and the meaning of it is, I pay homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the fully enlightened one. So this is how we chant our homage. And then we do the refuge chant in Pali. And this is chanted by many different streams of Buddhist practitioners all around the world in this language. So if you go to China, it will be chanted in Pali. If you go to Sri Lanka, it will be chanted in Pali. When we maintain the chant and we learn the chant in Pali, it is so that anywhere we go, we can join in with the Sangha and chant this. And the refuge is, we say it 3 times, and we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha. And then the second, we say for the second time, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And then for the third time, I say, I take refuge. So after refuge then, the bell will be rung twice and we are seated. We no longer are standing. And pull out our chant books, or we will be posting the chants on the screen, I think. Yeah, we are. We got that figured out. So the first chant that we always do is the Heart of Wisdom Sutra, the Heart of Great Wisdom Sutra, which was translated, I didn't realize this, I've been reading a new book on the liturgy by Kaz Tanahashi, and he said that this particular short form of the Heart of Great Wisdom Sutra was translated from Sanskrit into Chinese in 649. And then it came to us through that. In this chant, there's a term, prajna paramita. A bodhisattva relies on prajna paramita, meaning relies on the wisdom mind. And the wisdom mind is what we are all awakening to and clarifying for our own self. And it describes the method that we use in Zen practice, actually. It's kind of a string of koans that is very puzzling initially. And it's, I'll talk more about that when I go into this sutra at another time. But it begins with Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva while coursing in deep prajna paramita. Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of wisdom. The wisdom beyond wisdom, wisdom and compassion are essential for a mindful life. They go together, they always go together. If we just have wisdom, it's not complete because we hold the fullness of life in our hearts. But in this sutra, it cuts through, it kind of deconstructs and demolishes our usual conceptual framework and our rigid ideas about who we are and what this life is. So the sutra pulls the rug out from underneath our feet, and it sounds like gibberish. It can sound like gibberish. But one of the things that it accomplishes right off the bat is it kind of stops us and sends us into don't know mind and kind of like, what is this? Which is exactly our approach to things is to not take anything for granted and not fall for our habitual way of framing the world. So that's how that functions. The next one that we will chant tonight is the Identity of Relative and Absolute, which was written in the 8th century, by the 8th ancestor in China, Sekito Kisen. And the identity of relative and absolute refers to all of the manifestations that make up our self and our world, which also, at the same time, innately express absolute truth. Everything is impermanent. Everything is interrelated. And there is no separate, fixed, unchanging selfness to anything. So this remarkable chant lays this out in some detail. The thing about this practice is we can get very swept up in the absolute and be bewildered about how to integrate it into our everyday life. This chant is pointing to how there is no separation at all. And so it fuels our own curiosity about what is the meaning of that? How does that work? How can I see that for myself in my own life? And then we dedicate the chants to awakening together, and direct the benefit of our chanting to all beings, wishing everyone from past, present, and future to awaken along with us. Past, present, and future, those are the 3 times, which we'll look more into in a future talk, the 3 times. And then comes the lineage, and tonight we're going to chant the male lineage. There's also a female lineage. These are not exact, but they are the best estimation of who follows whom, and especially with the female lineage, because this has been a very male-centered tradition until recent times, although there have been many enlightened women and teachers, but we just didn't hear from them until now. So next time we will be chanting the female lineage. That's followed by the chant of boundless compassion. 1 week we chant the chant of boundless compassion, and the next time we chant it, we'll chant the Japanese version, the Sino-Japanese, which is the Enne Juku Kanon Gyo. It's the same chant in different languages. And we do that because that's the way it's chanted no matter where we go, so we will know both forms. And it's all about reminding us that loving kindness requires a continuing commitment, a deeply held and practiced intention to be animated by love and understanding, looking deeply within. And Kaz Tanahashi mentions that the source of this chant is a dream. It's a story about a defeated and imprisoned general named Wang Shuangmo, who received this chant in a dream. And by vigorously chanting it, he had been imprisoned and was sentenced to death, and he was saved from execution. This is the story about this chant. So it's very potent. Remember that if you're ever in danger of losing your head. And then there's the next is the Shosaimyo Kichijo Dharani, which is a mystic verse of protection. It's a Dharani. Dharani can be either in Pali or Sanskrit, and the meaning of it is beyond the actual words, which is why it's called a mystic verse. And we attribute certain meaning to it, but we don't translate it. So the Shosaimyo Kichijo Dharani, is the next thing that we chant to help us avert disaster. It's one we do well to remember and use often. And then finally the Jizo Shingon, which is also a dharani. The Jizo is the bodhisattva who protects children who have died and women and travelers on the road. And Shingon means, in Japanese, means the true word. So this is the true word of Jizo. And it summons the energies of Jizo Bodhisattva, the energies of unflagging optimism, great determination, and no fear. So it helps us stop and become aware when we are in need of such help. So that's a very brief account of the chants that we're going to be sharing tonight, and you'll be hearing more about in the future.
And now if you'll just bear with us for a moment while we relocate the microphone and the camera.
And we'll be doing 3 vows to start.
Yes, we will.
So maybe while you're waiting for us to get set, maybe you wanna rise.
Please rise for 3 bows. Please remain standing. We'll display the chants. Gata of Atonement. All harmful actions ever committed by me, sins of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. All harmful actions ever committed by me, since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. All harmful actions ever committed by me, since of old, on account of Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Dutiyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dutiyampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Dutiyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Tatyampi Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Tatyampi Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Tatyampi Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Please be seated. Heart of great perfect wisdom, Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, when deeply practicing Prajnaparamita, clearly saw that all five aggregates are empty and thus relieved all suffering. Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form itself is emptiness. Emptiness itself forms sensations, perceptions, formations, and consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all dharmas are marked by emptiness. They neither arise nor cease, are neither defiled nor pure, neither increase nor decrease. Therefore, given emptiness, there is no form, no sensation, no perception, no formation, no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no sight, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of mind consciousness. There is neither ignorance nor extinction of ignorance, neither old age and death nor extinction of old age and death, no suffering, no cause, no cessation, no path, no knowledge, and no attainment. With nothing to attain, a bodhisattva relies on Prajnaparamita, and thus the mind is without hindrance. With hindrance there is no fear. Far beyond all inverted views, one realizes nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future rely on Prajnaparamita, and thereby attain unsurpassed, complete, perfect, enlightened. Therefore know the Prajnaparamita as the great miraculous mantra, the great bright mantra, the supreme mantra, the incomparable mantra, which removes all suffering and is true, not false. Therefore we proclaim the Prajnaparamita mantra, the mantra that says Gate, Gate, Para, Gate, Parsam, Gate, Bodhisvaha. Identity of relative and absolute absolute. The mind of the great sage of India was intimately conveyed from west to east among human beings. Are wise ones and fools, but in the way there is no northern or southern ancestor. The subtle source is clear and bright. The tributary streams flow through the darkness. Be attached to things is illusion. To encounter the absolute is not yet enlightened. Each and all the subjective and objective spheres are related and at the same time independent. Related yet working differently. Each keeps its own place, for makes the character and appearance different. Sounds distinguished, comfort and discomfort. The dark makes all words one. Brightness distinguishes good and bad phrases. The four elements return to their nature as a child to its mother. Fire is hot, wind moves, water is wet, earth hard, icy, ears hear, nose smells, tongue tastes, salt and sour. Each is independent of the other. Cause and effect must return to the great reality. The words high and low are used relatively. Within light there is darkness, but do not try to understand that darkness. Within darkness there is light, but do not look for that light. Light and darkness are a pair, like the foot before and the foot behind in walking. Each thing has its own intrinsic value and is related to everything else in function and position. Ordinary life is the absolute as a box and its lid. The absolute works together with the relative like two arrows meeting in midair. Reading words, you should grasp the great reality. Do not judge by any standards if you do not see the way. You do not see it even as you walk on it. When you walk the way, it is not near, it is not far. If you are deluded, you are mountains and rivers away from me. I respectfully say to those who wish to be enlightened, do not waste your time by night or day. Buddha nature pervades the whole universe, existing right here and now, and reciting the heart of Great Perfect Wisdom Sutra and the identity of relative and absolute. We dedicate their merits to Prajnaparamita, mother of all Buddhas, and to Vapashin Buddha Dayosho, Chikin Buddha Dayosho, Vivasubhatu Buddha Dayosho, Prakachananda Buddha Dayosho, Kranakamuni Buddha Dayosho, Kashyapa Buddha Dayosho, Shakyamuni Buddha Dayosho, Great Teacher Mahakashyapa, Great Teacher Ananda, Great Teacher Janavasa, Great Teacher Upagupta, Great Teacher Dritaka, Great Teacher Maikasha, Great Teacher Vasamatra, Great Teacher Buddhanandi, Great Teacher Buddhamitra, Great Teacher Parshva, Great Teacher Panyayashas, Great Teacher Ashvagosha, Great Teacher Kalimata, Great Teacher Nagaguna, Great Teacher Kanadeva, Great Teacher Rahulata, Great Teacher Saganandi, Great Teacher Gashahata, Great Teacher Kumarata, Great Teacher Hayata, Great Teacher Vasubandhu, Great Teacher Manoritu, Great Teacher Haklanyanashas, Great Teacher Arya Simha, Great Teacher Vasilashita, Great Teacher Punya Mitra, Great Teacher Prajnahira, Great Teacher Bodhidharma, Great Teacher Dajuriku, Great Teacher Ginger Shankan, Great Teacher Dai Daoshin, Great Teacher Guanan Hunen, Great Teacher Dajan Weirong, Great Teacher Qingyon Chengzhu, Great Teacher Shurtoshi Qian, Great Teacher Yaoshan Weiyan, Great Teacher Yunyan Tengshun, Great Teacher Junshan Yangre, Great Teacher Jadaiyun, Great Teacher Tungan Dao Tao Pei, great teacher Tunan Guanzhi, great teacher Liangshan Guanyuan, great teacher Daiyang Jingshuan, great teacher Tozi Qishun, great teacher Furang Dao Kai, great teacher Daxing Zhengshun, great teacher Jinshin Xin Yao, great teacher Tianzang Zhengzhui, great teacher Shui Do Zhijian, great teacher Tang Tang Rujing, great teacher Hei Dogen, great teacher Koan Ejo, great teacher Tetsu Dikai, great teacher Keizan Joking, great teacher Gasan Joseki, great teacher Taigen Soshin, great teacher Baizan Monpan, great teacher Nyochu Tenging, great teacher Kisan Shosan, great teacher Morin Shihan, great teacher Taishi Sotai, great teacher Kinshu Hantetsu, great teacher Daiju Soko, great teacher Kinko Jusing, great teacher Kaing Sochin, great teacher Tetsue Seitan, great teacher Shoko Shotan, great teacher Ketsuzan Tetsue, great teacher Hoshi Soan, great teacher Koho Dainan, great teacher Tenkei Gensong, great teacher Zozan Moko, great teacher Niken Sekuryo, great teacher Reitan Roryo, great teacher Kakujo Tosai, great teacher Kakuan Ryogu, great teacher Roka Daibai, great teacher Unan Gohai, great teacher Bayan Hanchang, great teacher Koan Taisan. And to great teacher Ganshan Ryoko, great teacher Musa Gyoiro, great teacher Taihitsu Muman, great teacher Philip Zintetsu Kaplo, great teacher Robert Gyoan Aiken, great teacher Muho Takabayashi Genkei, to all enlightened women, to all those who have taught and manifested the truth, may we appreciate their teachings and show our gratitude by accomplishing the enlightened way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all honored ones, Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, wisdom beyond wisdom, Mahaprajna Paramita. Chant of boundless compassion. Absorbing world sounds awakens a Buddha. Right here, this Buddha, the source of compassion. This Buddha receives only compassion. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, just compassion. Thus the pure heart always rejoices. In the light recall this, in the dark recall this. Time after moment Shingon. Om Kaka Kavi Sanma Esoaka. 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 Absolute light, luminous throughout the whole universe, unfathomable excellence penetrating everywhere. Whenever these devoted invocations are sent forth, they are perceived and subtly answered. We humbly request the guidance of the three treasures, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, in chanting the chant of boundless compassion. We offer the merits to all living teachers of the Dharma, including His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Shodo Harada Roshi, Thich Nhat Hanh, Ajahn Sumedho, Pema Chodron, Joan Anrek Roshi, Jan Chosen Beis Roshi, and Hogan Beis Roshi. May their vows be fully realized. We offer our blessings to those who are ill or in distress, including Bruce and Kanshin Haro, Denise Richards, Carrie Cordell, Joan, Chuck McLaughlin, Barbara Grant, Tamara Cahill, Tom Borland, Jim Borland, Liz Finder, Mary Finder, Brent Livey, Enoch Terris, Abraham Nunez, Chloe Lowry, Kathy Wolf, Keith Martin, Richard Birkinshaw, Kathleen Culver, Lois Myers, Dee Shoppy, Dell, Carrie, Molly, the people of Afghanistan, victims of the Haiti earthquake, victims of the floods in Louisiana and New York, people worldwide who are suffering from COVID-19, and to all those affected by human-made and natural disasters, all people who experience abuse, domestic violence, and hopelessness, all beings affected by climate change, all elders without a voice, and all refugees fleeing violence, famine, and persecution. May they be freed from suffering and serene through all their ills. We pray that those who help to guide our city, county, state, nation, and world will be endowed with clear wisdom and compassion. May our countries be led with clarity and kindness. We also offer our blessings to those in the transition of death, including Maggie Land, Beth Taylor, Ray Powell, Hart the dog, Ricky Apollo, Chris Moluli, people who lost their lives in the floods in Louisiana and New York, the takeover in Afghanistan, the earthquake in Haiti, and the Delta variant surge. May we and they be serene through these transitions. May we aspire to turn the Dharma wheel unceasingly to free the world from every tragedy of violence, epidemic, natural disaster, and starvation, as we accomplish the awakened way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all honored ones, Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Please remain standing. Bowing to Buddha. Bowing to Sangha. That completes our service for this evening.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for being here. Take good care of yourselves.